Alrighty, we are back, and today I want to talk about the next Dokkan Fest coming towards the old classic Dokkan battle, right? I didn't really know where I was going with that, but we have special Dokkan Day tickets upcoming, obviously, so we know that there's probably going to be something for that we're going to be able to use on the upcoming banner, and just with the schedule that we know, it's going to be a Dokkan Festival exclusive. Now, this is the portion of the year where the should you summon and stuff like that actually gets pretty damn easy from here on out, because basically everything is going to be a skip. But in this video, I want to talk about potential options that we could see for a Dokkan Fest. Now, something that I've seen being floated around, and this is also just due to what Legends is up to, not in a great state right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys on Twitter probably know that, but a lot of the talk of the town has been Android 13, 14, and 15, and the Dragon Ball Legends YouTube also uploaded the full Android 13 movie for a limited time that you could watch for free. So seems like Android 13 getting a lot of stuff, but again, I don't know. Obviously, those games technically have no crossover unless explicitly stated, and I don't see them doing a collab anytime soon. But with the next Dokkan Fest, we have to start talking about characters that are due for new characters, and right now we've been sort of in a little bit of a movie bosses kick, if you will. What we've had recently is the release of Golden Frieza and Gogeta, the new Broly, the EZA for Golden Frieza, the Super EZA for STR Broly, the EZA for the other Broly, the banner one from 2022 right here, right? So we've seen a lot of movie boss buffs, but there are also a lot of movie bosses at this point who are due for new characters that also could fit a early October slot that is not what the game is banking on to be like the most hype celebration of the year. So one character that comes to mind, we've obviously talked about it, is Android 13. Now, I'm not putting Android 13 in the thumbnail. I'm sure you guys know why. But with Android 13 here, on JP, this guy released a little bit earlier than this, but we'll just talk about it on the global schedule. Very similar stuff. He released in April of 2020. So it has been, what was the last Android 13 update we got? Like, was it this EZA? For an Android 13, I can't really think of one off the top of my head. If we go to 1.3 here, when did this guy EZA? 2022. This guy EZA'd in 2023. So we have not received a Super Android 13 in a very long while here. You guys can see it has literally been since 2023 that we've seen anything with Android 13. Obviously, during 2023 as well, we had the buff for Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku. I don't think he would be a Dokkan Fest considering we got the Carnival LR of the Spirit Bomb Goku, essentially like the Gumku, whatever you want to call him, right? The Super Saiyan Trio. So for movie bosses, Android 13, I definitely think is on the table. And there was talk, I couldn't really find it on Twitter. Maybe if I were to go back while I'm talking here, I could maybe find it. But speculation has went towards there being a like a Dokkan Fest and then 2 TURs, because there's like 3 TURs. So let me see if I can pull this up here while I'm talking. Then we can sort of find it, right? I just want to make sure that I have the right idea before I start yapping, right? La 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 la. What do we got? Yeah, so 13, and then what we could potentially see with 13 would be an EZA for Super 17, which I think could be pretty damn interesting. Yeah, so here we go, right? This is a Proton tweet. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. We'll talk about it there. Okay, so we're over here on Toon Rami's Twitter. This is what we are working with right now. We've got a very specific sort of set from this tweet. After the latest data download, we have one ID gap between the two tables. The ID ratio between the tables is 12:6 between AGL, LR Golden Frieza's EZA, and STR Broly's EZA. Assuming all the missing IDs are filled, this could mean 3 new TURs, or one LR EZA, and if they're not filled, this could mean 2 LR EZAs. It's something more that uses the remaining 6 IDs on the first table. So TLDR, right? This essentially is just like what we are using with unit IDs or just IDs in the data tables to figure out what we are going to be getting. So if we were to go with the first case, this is where Android 13 would make a ton of sense, right? Android 13, and then we have Android 14 and 15, right? The big bosses from the movie, right? And then, well, not even like 13 is the big boss, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like the main antagonist group of the movie, 3 TURs would make a ton of sense. And then with an LR EZA, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. And then over here on the side, we have the Target Goku mission for, I believe that was the Red Zone. That would make a ton of sense because who debuted the Target Goku category? This guy right here. So with Target Goku, we could actually pull that up now, and that would sort of help us narrow down who potentially the Dokkan Fest could be, right? When we look here, we've got, when it comes to LR updates, like there's a big sort of gap right here, right? Like when we go Broly, Golden Frieza Gogeta, and then there's like almost a gap of 2 years, right? Almost exactly 2 years, right? With this, literally, yeah, 2 years, right? So when we have this stuff right here, with one LR EZA, if we look here on the tweet, who is a Target Goku LR that desperately needs his EZA? I had him right here, right? Super 17. We've been waiting on Super 17 to get his EZA for a very long time. And I think this would make the most sense because when we look at the LRs that released before 17, even ones that released after Super 17, right? EZA'd. Some of these are free, but we'll look at the summonable ones. EZA'd, Super EZA'd. So now, Super 17, I don't think is really like enough of a point of selling on like an anniversary level to be giving him an EZA. Maybe in like a countdown, you could maybe potentially get away with that. But anniversary EZAs have a much higher bar. We're talking about yearly anniversary LRs, characters like LR UI Goku. But then the counter argument to that is like the Broly trio. But that's still Broly, right? So there's sort of a bit of a mixed bag there. You could sort of get away with that. So with Target Goku, that does open the door for potential Dokkan Fests that we could see, right? Android 13, I think, would make a lot of sense. If they wanted to do like another Super 17, I think they could get away with doing something like that. Probably not. We recently just got a hit, so we're not going to be seeing hit, even though the int version of hit is not on this category. Unless I'm blind, but I don't think I am here. We're probably not going to be seeing another hit this year, right? That's just would be my intuition. Another metal cooler, probably not, because we're going to see these EZAs during a major celebration. I don't think we'd be seeing it during this. But Android 13, I think, would make a lot of sense here. But something else that I wanted to talk about with movie bosses, and this is going to get one individual in the community excited. I think we could see a Tapion Dokkan Fest. Because again, this is one that is not really all that exciting for most players, I would assume. And this celebration point is also not like a major pivotal turning point for the year, right? Like they aren't banking on this first Dokkan Fest in October to be like the one that keeps them afloat, right? So a Tapion unit would be pretty interesting just because of the amount of categories that he would end up working on, right? Uncontrollable Power is a good one. Demonic Power, if Harudegarm were to be... So Harudegarm would need to be a part of the unit for him to get those two. But when we look at movie heroes, he would not be a movie boss, probably, assuming Harudegarm is a part of the unit. Siblings Bond, Power of Wishes, like teams that could definitely use the help. Time Travelers, Storied Figures. These are units that certainly could use a little bit of assistance. So when we see stuff like right here, this is a unit that I think could be a prime example of a Dokkan Fest coming up. But again, it is one of those weird cases. But other than that, it is really tough to tell like who the next Dokkan Fest will be because of just the way that they've been handling things during the year. So like major releases during this year, when we look at like would have to go to the TUR landscape, right? That would make things a little bit easier. So I think we have to go to page 4. Yeah. So when we look at like the TURs this year, right? The pattern has been extremely inconsistent, right? With Dokkan Festival exclusive TURs. We're not talking about the banner units and stuff like that. We have Hit and Kaioken Goku. We have Tau. So we went from this to this, right? So tournament participants, Dragon Ball, those have been two really common ones. So if we were to go over to tournament participants, this would give us a pretty good tell, right? Like, is there anybody in tournament participants at this point who could potentially be a Dokkan Fest that wouldn't be one, like that hasn't gotten like a major release this year? So like we wouldn't be getting TN, we wouldn't be getting the Universe 6 girls, not a Gohan, not a Cell, not a Pikkon, not a Hit. Probably not a Kale and Khalifa. Yeah, definitely not a Kale and Khalifa, excuse me. They could go back to Dragon Ball if they really wanted to. Like, imagine that this Dokkan Fest is like Krillin from a world tournament. I think that is like not a very likely one, but one that I think could be potentially possible. And then with Dragon Ball Saga, I know this would be like really bad for like player interest because players just do not care about Dragon Ball, and it sucks, right? Because Dragon Ball's got a lot of really good stuff in there, but players just don't care, and there's nothing I can do about that. That's not up to me. So when we look at this here, potential Dragon Ball Dokkan Fest at this point, it's tough. Like to me, it's really just Krillin. Because we've gotten Roshi recently, we had a Kid Goku recently, there's a summonable LR Bulma that we've had, we had Bunny Bulma in 2024, we had Roshi, not really sure. So main things that I want to take from this video, I think it could be a movie boss, I think it could be someone from Target Goku, perhaps a tournament participant, but Android 13 and Tapion are probably my two favorites right now, but those are characters I'm not going to be putting in the thumbnail, so let me know down below what you guys think, who the Dokkan Fest will be, and all that fun stuff in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to leave a like before you go, subscribe for your news, that way you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you guys for watching, big shouts out to all my members on the YouTube side of things, and I'll see you all in the next one.